resolution is a very triggering time for me, and why I wanted to do this webinar really to spread a little bit of light on goals and goal setting and how I see them as being an effective tool in actually getting some personal or professional development in ways that are structured and positive, something you can actually look forward to. I'm now a person who loves change. So I've spent 20 years at management level, actually supporting teams to smash goals through personal and professional development plans. And that's primarily through customer service and sales, working quite a lot in the finance industry as well as automotive. You'll know at the moment that I'm new to setting up my business in Ringwood, Arate Effect, which is my new training space for personal training and small groups, where really what we focus on is more goal-driven and personal-centered approach to improving health. So we are less about I need to lose 20 kilos and more about I want to feel better about myself. These are the steps that I believe will help me get to feeling good. And this is the space where we will support you towards those, make them realistic, and keep you moving on that journey. So the goals that we're looking at today, I hope that you've got your worksheet already. We're looking at all of the different types of goals that you can have, how to really nail down the goal that you want to focus on first, how to pick it, and then how to break it down into actionable pieces that are meaningful and measurable and absolutely achievable. So we're looking to set yourself up for success rather than traditional goal setting, which is I must lose 10, 20 kilos. We're looking for specific goals that will get you to that end where you want to be. So the top goals for Australia in 2024 were to improve physical health, to improve mental health, to manage money better, spend more time with family and friends, and to travel more. Fantastic. It's wonderful to see that Australians are really wanting to look after their physical and mental health. They're recognizing the social benefits that come with keeping connections with families and friends. And they're also wanting to get out and explore and broaden their knowledge and their experience of the world. So all fantastic goals. What I do see with all of these is that they could be quite grand, and also they're quite difficult to measure. So what we want to look at with our goals is whether we have short-term or long-term, if they are specific or non-specific, if they are looking at going towards a desired outcome or away from a less desirable outcome, if they're based on performance or learning, and whether they have an end state. So if it's something that just gets to the point where you've achieved your goal and that's it, you've done it, absolutely nothing else, or if you're looking at a process. So say we're looking at losing that 20 kilos we were talking about. You might think that losing the 20 kilos is the end, but in reality, it's the beginning of a longer process. So we have set ourselves a goal, we've got to the end process, but now we need to maintain it. So there's going to be some ongoing work behind those goals. So I'm hoping that you've set yourself a little bit of a list down on what your goals are, and feel free to mention in the chat on either the Facebook Live or on the Zoom if you want to pop in what your goals are, and we can by all means discuss those in a little bit more detail. If we take one of the examples that we've got for Australia's top goals, one that actually came to mind as an interesting one was to travel more. This is great from a point of view of needing to really work out what those steps are to achieve the goal of traveling more. It's really not as simple as just getting on a plane and going somewhere. There are a lot of considerations that you need to make when you want to travel more. You need to have the time to travel. If you're working, you need to have the annual leave available to actually take that time away. Travel is not free. It's not even cheap, unless you're looking at traveling in the sense of I'm going to hike in the local hills and pitch a tent that I already have. Awesome. But if you're looking for something a little bit further afield, there's going to be some planning, some budgeting. Maybe you would need to learn another language. Perhaps you need to find someone to go with. So there are a lot of steps in just achieving that one goal. How are you going to measure traveling more? Is it a case of I went to 3 different countries last year, so now I need to go to 4 different countries? Is that what you mean? You need to be very specific to give yourself a goal that you can actually achieve. Because the last thing we want to do is get to the end of our year and say, well, for 2024, that was my goal, but I haven't achieved it because I forgot it needed to be measured. My measurement scale has now changed, therefore the whole thing has defaulted and it was a complete waste of time. And this is where I've found myself several times in the past, and what we're trying to avoid in our goal setting this year. So if you have a look at your worksheet that I've provided, what I've asked about these goals is really whether you have tried something similar before. So we'll go to a very popular goal of eating more healthily. Have you set yourself a goal in the past of eating more healthily? I absolutely have. But what I've forgotten to do is actually clarify to myself in the beginning what that looks like. Is more healthily cutting out your 1 chocolate bar a week that you have, that is your absolute immense pleasure, and perhaps even your coping strategy for when you're feeling really, really stressed? Is eating more healthily meaning that you are not having a takeaway? Is it that you are increasing your intake of fruits and vegetables? Is it that you are needing to educate yourself, perhaps go on a cookery course, subscribe to something that's going to give you this information and these tools? So how did you go with a goal like this before, if you've had one? What obstacles did you overcome, and what obstacles can you foresee? So if you're aiming for a goal of eating more healthily, I hate mushrooms. Everything that is healthy seems to have mushrooms in it. They are so good for you, but if you put a mushroom anywhere near my plate, I am not touching that thing. I love cheese, and cheese is pretty much my happy place. If I want to eat more healthily, I don't want to have to give up cheese. But this is completely, the way that we summarize and group things in our modern society. We have good, we have bad. If we want to be eating more healthily, we need to cut out everything that's classified as bad and only go for healthy. It's just not true. It's absolutely not achievable, and it's downright depressing. So let's set ourselves up with goals that are positive, goals that have small steps that we can achieve and reward ourselves along the way, and goals that we can actually look forward to working for. Change should be something that we are excited about. I'm very keen that failure isn't something we should be afraid of. Every time something happens that stops us from achieving our end goal, there's a lesson. It's not always something that was within our control, but it is generally something that we can learn from, grow from, and make steps towards avoiding later on in the future. With the goals that you've set yourself, they must be important. It is pointless setting yourself a goal to lose X number of kilos, to change your diet, to include or exclude whatever you've been told is good or bad for you. If you've been encouraged to have a goal to socialize more, but you actually suffer with social anxiety, that's not your goal, and it's not important to you. It might be important to you to feel more comfortable in social situations. That's not necessarily true that you would need to force yourself into them. Maybe you need to find some psychological help that's going to assist you. Spend some more time with your GP, find social networking groups that will support. So we need to be specific about how these goals will work, and they have to be personal. With your goals, I encourage you, on page 1 of your worksheet, I've asked you to look at your goals and to work out how they will change your life. So we'll go back to needing to be more socially active because you know that it's better for you emotionally and psychologically, but you suffer with social anxiety. This is an example pretty close to my heart. This is pretty much the situation I was in 18 years ago. It's only looking back at it now that I'll realize that social anxiety was a big part of my life. There were times when I would need to drink half a bottle of Sambuca before I would leave the house for the night. Not being able to find the right outfit would leave me missing out completely. And once in a social situation, I would need to be that plastered. I have very little recollection of what I've actually done. But yay for me, I went and I did my social obligations and got out there. With 20 years of experience, I can now look back and say that was absolutely ridiculous and totally not a positive step for me to make. Why do your goals matter to you? If you want to lose 20 kilos, why? What difference is that going to make to your life? Why have you picked 20 kilos? Do you need to reach X number of kilos on your body weight to be healthy? And how valid is that calculation? A massive, massive topic that we go through, especially here in the gym, is people wanting to lose body weight. There is very little scientific evidence of a direct correlation between body weight and chronic disease. There is a lot of social weight put on that measurement of body weight. But why is the goal important to you? Maybe when you start thinking about that, your goal could change. And that's okay. Because by the end of this worksheet, we want you to have a goal that is specific to you, something that is actionable, and something that you can feel confident that you are going to go out there and own. And you're going to smash it out of the ball. So really think about, what are my goals? How will they change my life? And why does that matter to me? Once you've got that down, then you can decide which goal to start with, okay? So at this point in your worksheet, you might have 5 goals in mind. And they could vary from something that you want desperately or you need desperately to achieve in the next week, okay? Brilliant. You could also have something that you've determined is important to you to achieve within the next 5 years. Also equally valid. We need to have one to focus on. Look at your goals. Are they linked? There could be some that you can see as a journey to achieve the longer term goals, okay? Don't discount the small goals in favor of these giant leaps. You can't get to the end of a long journey without completing the whole route to get there. Your route's going to look different to somebody else's, but you need to go through the process, all right? We're not looking at merely walking up a very, very gentle incline to get there in 5 years' time. Most of us have goals that are a little bit steeper for the longer term and a little bit smaller for the shorter term. Pay attention to those shorter term goals because they are the bedrock, the foundation of you getting to the top in your bigger goals. So the second page of your worksheet, we are looking at specificity. I hate this word. Specificity. How specific your goal is, okay? Normal words. So we have a goal of losing weight. Not specific at all. We have a goal of losing 10 kilos. Better, quite specific. We have a goal of reducing our body fat by 3%. Very specific, okay? We must be very specific, okay? When we have our specific goal, we can then break it down in how to achieve it. If you're going to get to where you want to be, but you don't know where you are now, you're going to be going around in circles for a very long time. So be honest with yourself. Whatever your goal is, whatever you're going to achieve, however long you've set yourself to do it, be honest with yourself about where you are today. And have a think about how you got to where you are today. I have a top that's just peed me off for a year and a half. And it's this sports tank. And it's by a big brand company. And on the back is this amazing, empowering message. And it says, never look back. And it is just completely inside out. You should be proud of everything you have been through that has turned you into the person you are today. It is right to have goals for where you want to be and the person you want to be tomorrow and into the future. But don't discount everything you have already been through and achieved. You genuinely are the product of the life that you have had. Some of it you've been able to influence. A lot of it you have not. A lot of it has been completely outside your control. And that's where you find yourself now, taking back control by setting yourself goals that you can achieve to get the desired outcome that you deserve. That's what this is all about. How are you going to measure your goal? So we'll go back to the weight goal because it's the easiest one with the numbers, all right? So you know where you are today. You know where you want to be in X weeks, years, months. How do you measure it? So if it's weight, really straightforward. You could just go with body weight and use your scales. You might want to go with body fat percentage, so you can go to your local body scanner and actually get an assessment done there. All right. Not too expensive, fairly accessible, and great way to compare like with like. Okay. There are a lot of other factors to consider. Some goals could be towards mental health. If you're going to do that, find yourself a questionnaire or just ask yourself some questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied am I with my life today? On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident am I with my ability to overcome issues? On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident am I in meeting strangers? Work out your questions, keep those, okay? You're going to come back to those along your journey. Everything can be measured. Doesn't have to be a recognized scale. You can measure by feel, but make sure it's your feelings because you're the person that you need to be honest with. You don't need to be accountable to anyone else. Your scale for your goals. How are you going to know when you've been successful with your goal? Well, I wanted to lose 10 kilos. I stood on the scales today and I'm 10 kilos down. Awesome, I've achieved it. Or I've revisited my questionnaire. I was determined to improve my score by 2 points on every question on my scale of 1 to 10. And today I've done that. Okay. Then you know what the difference is and what you're really, really working on. What will the end look like for you? So when we're losing weight, it will look lighter, be more energized. You might have less pain through your body. You might look in the mirror and feel more confident. You might finally be able to fit into whatever clothes you've been looking for. How will that make you feel? Bring your emotions into it. It is personal. This is your goal. It's not a throwaway statement. This is your determination to improve yourself. And you are the driver of this change. Make it personal. Determine how you want to feel and remind yourself how important it is. How motivated are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, honestly, you've decided your goal, you've worked out where you are, where you want to be, how you're going to measure it. Are you going to do it? Because if you're a 1 or a 2 out of 10, there's absolutely no point. Go find another goal. You don't care enough. It's not important to you. So it takes us right the way back to the first step. Work out your goal. Why is it important? Maybe you need to be qualified to degree standard because that's the only thing your parents would ever accept to make them proud of you. Strictly speaking, that's their goal, but emotionally for you, that could be your goal. You know, these can come from wide varieties of spaces. What obstacles could you foresee in your journey towards this goal? All right. We're wanting to lose 10 kilos of weight. Obstacles that I can see is my love of cheese. We'll keep coming back to this. Also, Easter, weekends, birthdays, cocktails, stress eating, children, coffee, Starbucks coffee. They are all obstacles. So how am I going to overcome those obstacles? What can I put in place to either minimize the obstacles cropping up or give me the tools to help combat them? If I can't do it by myself, who can I ask for help? Do I have a goals buddy? Do I need to give my husband my credit card so I stop shopping? Definitely not. Do I need to talk to my parents about their goal for me to be a doctor? And perhaps a misunderstanding that is 30 years old, that that's the only way they would be proud of me. Revisit these steps. Where does it come from? Where is your drive? We're nailing it down. By this point in time, we should now have your goal for you with your drive and determination. It is extremely personal to you, and it is also extremely valuable to you. You are going to achieve this goal, and it will be life-changing. That's worth investing. Now, my cheese is coming back. How you keep yourself motivated. Page 3 of your worksheet is your action plan. An action plan is awesome as a tool to keep you moving. But if you don't reward yourself for all of your positive steps, all it is another bit of paper that you're just ticking. We do that a lot. Love this. Forward that. Tick, yes, smile, laugh, awesome. They're all throwaway gestures. Reward yourself for a job well done. So on my goal to lose 10 kilos, in the whole scale of things, I can have some cheese. Just a bit. But if I'm depriving myself of something until I get to that 10 kilos, you can be damn sure I am going to a cheese factory and I'm raiding it, and I will probably die of a cheese coma. Don't deprive yourself of the little joys that you have. So every time you make a small step towards your goal, reward yourself. Your goals don't have to be rewarded by something that's part of that journey. You might reward yourself for a weight loss goal by going to the movies. You might reward yourself by getting some new gym clothes. You might reward yourself by allowing yourself 30 minutes to sit down with a cup of tea and a book, or send the kids away to their grandparents. Something that is a driver for you. Your determination to do this is not based only on wanting to get to the end. There have got to be little trinkets along the way. We're going on a treasure hunt. There's not only one thing. We're going to stop on the way and pick up some treats as we go, because we deserve it. You put the work in. From the moment you set your goal, you have started working, and you need to recognize that. Your small steps can be broken down however you wish. So your 10 kilo weight loss goal, you could break that down by kilo. You could break it down by saying, I just want to continually lose weight, measured every month until I hit my 10 kilos. It could be that you want to lose your 10 kilos in 5 months' time. Okay, well, easy. You've got 2 kilos to go each month. Or you could say, I'm really going to slam it at the front end, take out 4 kilos to begin with, and then trickle down. Break it up however you want to, okay? You've got your goal. You've got your end goal. You should have a timeline of when you want to achieve this by. Be a little bit careful about timelines that are based on something that's out of your control. I would err on the side of caution for fat loss goals based around somebody else's wedding, based around seeing other people. These are all goals that are extrinsic. So these are all goals that are driven by our expectation that somebody else thinks we need to do this. Back to page 1 you go. Your goal, your reason, okay? What actions do you need to take? I want to lose 10 kilos. Great. How? What are you going to do? Look at your life now. What can you do to change that to help you lose 10 kilos? Perhaps you need to join a gym. Also good. Which gym? The closest one? Group training, strength training, personal training? How often can you go? Oh, only once a week. Is that going to get you to losing 10 kilos? Possibly. Will it take quite a while? Also possible. So if that's still something you want to do, keep it in, okay? Good. Don't just discount it. It's a step. Pop that down as one of your goals. What else can you do? Could eat more healthily? Great. How? Cut out cheese? No way. Reduce my calorie intake by 200 calories per day? Sounds reasonable. What else? Have a look at what I'm eating. Reduce my processed foods. Maybe educate myself more on proper nutrition, on what will support my weight loss goals. Put all of these things down. These are the little steps, but without clarity at the very beginning of your journey, you are very likely to come undone, because you'll get to the point where you say, well, my goal was to lose 10 kilos and I'm not losing any weight. I failed at my goal. This is ridiculous. I'm basically a useless person. I'm never going to achieve anything. I may as well just give up now. It's not you that's the problem. It's the goal setting. So let's make this as realistic, as specific, as measurable, as achievable as possible. And once you've got all of that nailed down, find yourself a buddy, tell them about your goal, read through your action plan, and keep revisiting it. Keep your goal at the front of your mind. Review it often. Allow yourself to not achieve it first time. That is quite possible. And when that happens, take it as a lesson. It is not a failure. It is a lesson. Give yourself the grace to review your goals as you go along. You're still looking for that end point, but the journey you take may change. There are things that will be out of your control. Acknowledge them. Work with them, work around them. Find your new route. Sat-nav is taking you on a detour, but you are still heading towards your destination. So give yourself permission to reassess, reevaluate, pause if you have to. But even that pause has a time on it, and that's another action. Take your pause for X number of days, weeks, months, but in your calendar is the day when you are getting back on that road and heading towards your goal. Your worksheet gives you all of those steps broken down. So please work through the steps in order. And if you find you're getting onto page 3 and you've forgotten what your motivation was, go back to the start, okay? Keep revisiting and make sure that your goal is specific to you and you are passionate to achieve it. And I'm confident you will. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. I'm going to leave the screen up for another couple of minutes. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed the webinar and found the information useful. I'm going to be leaving access to the recording up for you, and I'm more than happy to send extra copies of the worksheets should they be required. In the meantime, follow me at Arete Effect and ask any questions that you have. If you're wanting a review of your worksheet, send me a message. I will book you in and I will very happily go through your worksheet with you and make sure that you have nailed down these goals. And I can't wait to see you achieve them. I'll wait for your questions. And otherwise, you have a wonderful evening. Thanks, guys. Wonderful. Anyone who's fallen asleep would likely have woken up by now. I have one comment here. If the goal does have elements that are out of your control, like starting a business relies on customers to make the sales, how do you bring that more under your control? Awesome question. Thank you. So Aspen, needing customers to make sales is an essential part of business. Absolutely. It is out of your control to make someone want something they don't want or need. There is something within your control, which is to identify the people who will and do want and need what you sell. Once you've identified your customer avatar, you can then target where you are spending your time, where you are putting your energy to promote your business and to successfully make those sales. So for your goal there, I would put in an element for increasing your business skills around direct marketing and really nailing your target audience. I hope that helps. Beautiful. Thank you, Jacinta. I got through your questions. Stepping back into fitness, would I suggest starting with a smaller weight loss goal to make it more achievable and then continue on with another goal just to keep you motivated? Fantastic question. Jacinta, one of the examples that I was using today was our weight loss goal of 10 kilos. So don't lose sight of your biggest picture. All right, this is your dream outcome. You're in an ideal world, everything was perfect, the planets were all aligned, and grace just fell in your lap. You're going to smash that big goal. Important to remember that you need to then break it into smaller steps, okay? Don't come back to it later on. That is your goal. But your goal can be made of several smaller step goals. Okay, and every single one of those small step goals deserves its own planning and reward and recognition for you achieving it. So say, for example, your goal is for 10 kilo weight loss. Absolutely. Break it into chunks that you can say, do you know what? I'm going to get my first kilo of weight loss in the next month. I'm going to take these steps to determine and to achieve that 1 kilo of weight loss. Then I'm going to roll that over. I'm going to lose my second kilo and I'm going to maintain the first one that I lost. And perhaps you're then going to increase your activity. Keep yourself motivated by rewarding your activity. You're getting closer, okay? Weight loss goals especially are incredibly tricky when you get towards your actual goal. Your body will fight you for those last few kilos. It's just nature's cruel way of making us feel like we can't beat it. You will learn along the way. You will refine and you will fine-tune your goals. Keep your big goal, but break it down into those small chunks. I hope that helps.